This week on the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast.
Now, I'm biased because I'm a huge Kurt Russell fan. 58 critic reviews given it 83% on Rotten
Jiminy
Tomatoes.
Crickets.
So that caught me off guard.
Yeah, the critics really love this.
Breakdown is 90s thriller through and through, an incredibly tense, gripping, white knuckle treat. From the beginning, the movie grabs your attention and doesn't let go. Are we really supposed to empathize with the empathy-proof Kurt Russell? I was actually hoping that his character's wife had run away with the trucker.
I mean,
For those who are listening, if you're looking to abduct a person or a couple for ransom or what have you, I'm not suggesting or advocating that, but this movie is a great blueprint.
honestly, it's pretty good.
If this was an action movie, that would have been a 5-10 minute
Okay, but to be
bouncing up and
like,
down. And
I'm about to blow your mind right now. Ready? This is an action movie.
it is?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I thought this was a drama.
Nope. It's an action movie. This could be the greatest movie we've ever watched.
No. But it looks like you said, it looks like it'll be fun to watch.
Lights, camera, and action. Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. Remember those childhood movies you loved? We're going to watch them again and find out if they're still as amazing as you remember. Let's get ready to join Anna and Jimmy as they go back and watch those movies you remember being oh so awesomely good. Horror movies that scared. Comedy movies that dared. And action movies so preposterously ludicrous that they defied the laws of common sense. Now, here's your hosts, Anna Santos and Jimmy Coates.
All right. So we are now in 1997.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go into some breakdown stuff. All right. So all right. So now we'll go to the tail of the tape.
Mm-hmm.
Breakdown is a 1997 mystery and thriller film rated R for strong violence, terror, and language, and comes in at a nice, actiony, quick pace, 1 hour and 33 minutes.
Nice.
Taglines for Breakdown: no one is safe from chance. A cross-country trip, an unexpected breakdown, the trap has been set.
Not bad.
It could happen to you.
I like that one.
Okay, the synopsis. Now, I don't remember a lot of this movie.
Nor do I. So let's go.
On the cross-country drive, a married couple, Jeff, Kurt Russell, and Amy Taylor, Kathleen Quinlan, experience car trouble after an accident. Stranded in New Mexico desert, the two catch a break when a passing truck driver, Red Bar, JT Welsh, offers to drive Amy to a nearby cafe to call for help. Meanwhile, Jeff is able to fix the car and make his way to the cafe, only to find his wife missing and Bar claiming ignorance. Jeff then begins a frenzied search for Amy. Pretty standard.
Mm-hmm.
Now we'll take a look at, that was the DVD copy. So we'll look at the actual movie poster, which is a lot like the DVD copy. Actually, I think it's identical.
I
Except
think it
breakdown is, hold on, pretty close.
Oh yeah, no, almost identical. Yeah,
Yeah.
very, very close. They just switched Breakdown and Kurt Russell.
Yeah. Now, I'm biased because I'm a huge Kurt Russell fan. As a kid, I watched, because we had the Disney Channel, and I watched his Walt Disney. He was in tons of Walt Disney movies, did the voice of Todd, the adult fox from Fox and the Hound. And then as I was getting to horror, this actor that I watched in tons of these kids' movies was now doing The Thing and
Yeah.
Escape from New York. So Kurt Russell is like one of my all-time favorites. So in the box office of 97, May 2nd, when this came
Mhm.
out, with a budget of 36 million, it opened at 12 million and closed at 50. It was considered a success, and then add on VHS rentals in
Yeah.
1997. DVDs were starting to come out. It was very profitable. Not wildly, but profitable. Which brings us to Rotten Tomatoes.
Dun, dun.
Now, I thought this, my initial thoughts were average. Average, it's going to be an average
Yeah.
thriller. 58 critic reviews given it 83% on Rotten
Jiminy
Tomatoes.
crickets.
So that caught me off guard.
Yeah. The critics really love this.
25,000 audience ratings give it 68%. So 68 and 83.
Wow.
Critic consensus is a brainy and suspenseful, if somewhat uneven thriller. So fresh ratings, a first-rate nail-biter that packs more genuine white-knuckle moments into 100 minutes than a dozen overpriced volcano movies could ever dream of having.
Well, tell us how you really feel.
So again, we saw Volcano, and
Yeah.
Dante's Peak was out. I don't know if it came out after this or before this, but
I feel like it came out afterwards because I
yeah,
feel like this is a
summer.
direct attack on Volcano.
Yeah. An engrossing, exciting nail-biter that makes the most of every single one of its efficient 95 minutes. It's a cool flick with a good story, and it's worth paying full price. And I never say that about a Kurt Russell movie. Karina Montgomery. Fuck you, Karina Montgomery. Kurt Russell is a national fucking treasure. But she hates Kurt Russell and she liked the movie. So that says something. How can you not like Kurt Russell movies?
It's worth paying full price for.
Yeah. A terrifying movie that presses the right buttons early on and then capitalizes on your vulnerability.
Interesting.
The movie will make you feel sick, but in the nicest, most entertaining kind of way. Breakdown delivers what it promises: thrills, excitement, suspense, gut-churning kinetic mayhem, and does so without insulting the audience's intelligence. A 96-minute thrill ride that twists and turns before accelerating to a wonderfully overwrought finale. Roger Ebert. Taut, skillful, and surgically effective. Breakdown is 90s thriller through and through, an incredibly tense, gripping, white-knuckle treat. From the beginning, the movie grabs your attention and doesn't let go. Yeah, the 90s we were talking about before with role models,
Mhm.
the 2000s really being full of comedies. The 90s did have a lot of thrillers.
It had a lot of thrillers, a lot of action movies. Like, I feel like the 90s was like, let's get your adrenaline going.
Yeah, it did have some comedies, but not like the
Not like
2000s
this,
or the
yeah.
80s. But yeah, the action and yeah, because then you had The Rock and
You
uh,
had The Rock
Con Air.
was The Day After
Ended with The
Tomorrow?
Matrix. Was The Day After Tomorrow in the
I
90s?
think The Matrix came out, I don't know.
The Matrix came out in
The Matrix might
1999.
yeah.
But
Oh, no,
Blade
Day After Tomorrow was
and
2004.
yeah,
Oh, Blade.
Blade movies, and yeah, just a lot of tons of Schwarzenegger and
Mhm.
Stallone were still making movies. Not all of them great, but
True.
some were good. So here are the rotten. Are we really supposed to empathize with the empathy-proof Kurt Russell? I was actually hoping that his character's wife had run away with the trucker.
I mean,
A lot of
maybe
these
valid?
are anti-Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell's lack of energy afflicts the film as much as its director's lack of ideas.
Tell us more.
Some movies have such good setups that they are virtually assured to be something of a letdown when it comes time for the follow-through. Jonathan Mostow's Breakdown is such a movie.
Wow.
Breakdown has plenty of deft action sequences, and what they add up to is a nifty garbage disposal, with all of us, characters, filmmakers, viewers, ultimately spiraling down the same drain. A long, drawn-out bore where the fate of each character is all but inscribed on his or her forehead. When you really think about Breakdown, and believe me, that would probably require spending more time thinking about the movie than the filmmakers did, it doesn't make much sense. So it
Oh,
does have
Jesus.
86 on Rotten Tomatoes, but there are some that didn't like it.
Wow. That's
IMDb has 58,000 users giving it a rating of 7 out of
that's
10.
impressive.
That's pretty impressive too.
Yeah.
Has its faults, but boredom is not one of them. 7. Flat out one of the best action thrillers ever. 10 out of 10. A great setup and payoff that doesn't disappoint. 8 out of 10. It could happen to you, the tagline reads. Not quite, but it is a white knuckled ride all the way. 8 out of 10.
Interesting.
Thriller with a pedestrian plot. 5 out of 10. Sucky, sucky, sucky. 4 out of 10. Decent road trip mystery thriller that gets silly. 6 out of 10. Routine Mao and Kurt Russell and big doll stunts equals 2 out of 10. So, for the most part, it does have good reviews.
Yes.
So, let's watch the trailer and then we're going to predict whether or not we're going to like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
See, look at this. If you win this mail-in contest, you can choose between $90,000 or 90,000 donuts.
A leisurely cross-country trip.
What the hell?
What did you do?
Hang on, I can't steer.
An unexpected breakdown.
Can you believe this?
A helpful passerby.
Folks all right?
Our car broke down.
I can give you a ride to Bell's, a little diner about 5 miles down the road. They got a payphone. You call a tow truck, they just come in and haul you out.
It could happen to anyone.
Excuse me. I was supposed to meet my wife here. She's dark-haired, about 5'5". Doesn't ring a bell. Pull over!
Now an ordinary man.
Listen, I'm looking for my wife.
Look, I don't know how to tell you this, but I've never seen you before in my life.
Has an unbelievable story.
It was him. It was this truck.
The police are doubtful.
I searched the truck. No sign of a struggle.
The locals are suspicious.
You know, there's over 100,000 people go missing in this country every year, all vanishing without a trace.
But he's not worried about the ones who think he's crazy.
My wife did not leave me.
He's worried about the ones who know he's telling the truth.
You the fella looking for his wife?
I saw what happened.
We're gonna be watching you.
When do I see my wife?
Soon enough, Jeff should start walking.
Get down on the ground!
Oh, this one's in on it.
What do you want?
Kurt Russell.
You better pray she's alive.
Breakdown.
Where is she?
Ooh.
It does feel very movie of the week.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said movie of the week, but yeah,
I think it'll be interesting. I love a good movie of the week.
yeah, it kind of looks kind of what I thought. Like,
Yeah.
it's just a generic 90s thriller action movie, but it
Mhm.
looks like, yeah, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
And the
It-
fact that it's got good review, that tells me that there's an actual. You kind of know what's happening though after you watch the preview. Like, you kind of get it.
Yeah, I kind of have a feeling it basically goes into like the last, and then he's gonna find his wife.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like 10 minutes before the movie ends. Then they're gonna fight their way out. I don't know if that actually happens, but I feel like that in my heart.
So do you think you're gonna like it?
I think I'm gonna like it in the same way I like Lifetime movies of the week or those cute little Hallmark murder mystery movies.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna blow me away. I don't think I'm gonna be like, wow, that was a revelation. But I mean, I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it looks like it. A lot of action scenes,
Yeah.
a lot of familiar faces.
So many familiar faces.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, this should be a good time.
It should, yeah, it looks like it'll be at least fun to watch.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious about all those reviews, like the good ones, like 83 on.
I think a lot of people were just like, this is a good formula. It feels almost Hitchcockian kind of vibe, like where he's searching and searching and he can't find. And people are trying to gaslight him and be like, "I don't know what you're talking about. No, I've never seen you before." And, they're doing all this stuff and that's where the, like, psychological part comes in, where
Yeah.
he kinda starts feeling like he's going crazy, but he's like, "But I'm not, I swear, I know this." I mean, I got this all from the trailer because this is absolutely terrible, but I'm like, I don't know if I remember this movie or if I remember an episode of Murder, She Wrote that was very similar.
Or a dozen of other movies that were along
Or it
this.
does another yeah, because I mean, they've disappeared, they go looking for them, and I'm like, "This is very familiar."
Yeah. Just
So
in the
I
90s alone, there were,
yeah.
like, it's just right at the top of my head, Vanishing, with Kiefer Sutherland,
Mm,
where he's at the parking lot and his wife goes to grab something out of the
yeah,
store and never comes back, and yeah. No, it doesn't look like it's gonna be horrible or anything. Yeah, I will go watch it and find out.
yeah.
We'll either praise it or shit all over it.
I don't think we're gonna, like, super shit all over it if that
No, it
I
it
don't think we're
looks
gonna be
very
singing
well done. It
praises.
looks like
Yeah.
the acting is there, yeah. Well, we'll
I
see. Could be
this
some
could be the greatest movie we've ever watched.
no. But it looks like you said, it looks like it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're gonna go watch it and we'll come back and review it.
You heard them. Movie time. Let's all go to the lobby and get ourselves a treat, and then watch a classic kick-ass movie from whenever the one we're about to watch was made.
All right. Initial thoughts from Anna.
This was terrible. Like, not I hate it with a fiery passion terrible, but, oh, why did they even bother making it terrible?
Um, yeah, my initial thoughts, I like this movie a lot more after I was done watching it. Like, it was
Mm.
almost stressful watching, like, an everyday man going through something like this, when you're used to action heroes. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Well,
like, anyone that knows me knows I'm a man's man.
he says as he giggles.
But this was, like, kind of a realistic I don't know, I when I was watching it, I don't know if I was expecting or wanting they messed
Yeah.
with the wrong guy, and this was not it at all.
No, it
No.
wasn't, but that wasn't even my problem with it. Like, other than him looking in medicine cabinets for ways to save himself and weapons. It was
Yeah.
it was just very, boring. I did not care about the wife. We did not get enough of her personality to become invested. They looked like they don't even really like each other.
An
So
hour
when she
33, you think you could have just an extra 10 minutes of
give me an
backstory.
extra 10 minutes of backstory, an extra
Not of the
10
bad
minutes
guys, that was
no,
fine,
no, of the couple.
of the
Like,
couple.
I wanted Kurt Russell and his wife to have conversations, be lovey-dovey, be super cute, and then have her kidnapped.
Yeah,
Because if like, I was just like, "She bought junk food.
yeah,
What?
yeah,
What? I don't care."
as a plot point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, it came back, and I was like, "Good for you." But also that dialogue was clunky when they were talking about the junk food. I was like, "Really,
yeah,
guys? You forced that in there, didn't you?" It's fine.
and for the time period yeah, we'll get into it.
Mhm.
Alright, so let's go through breakdown 1997. Okay. Married couple Jeff and Amy Taylor, Kurt Russell and Kathleen Quinlan, are driving across the country from Boston to California. While driving through somewhere in rural New Mexico, they almost collide with another truck on the road. At first, I was like, it's totally Jeff's fault.
Yeah, 100%.
It wasn't until later I realized they were waiting for a truck to
Well,
come along. Yeah.
I think it's also the way that it happened because the truck slowly drives into the highway.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even like it just kinda turned in real quick. So
Yeah.
I'm like, he's
And
just very leisurely rolling in.
and then Kurt Russell made it like was just losing his mind over the truck when it was really he wasn't even looking at the
He
road.
wasn't looking at the road. He was just like, "Can you I mean, I took my eyes off the road for a second there, and I was like, "Sir, you literally had your head turned and was looking for the thermos of coffee."
Yeah. Jeff is later confronted by its driver, a hostile redneck cowboy named Earl,
Mhm.
MC Gainey, at a gas station. Though the near collision was the other driver's fault, he still insults Jeff for being ignorant. Jeff waits until Amy comes back and they leave. Earl knows everything about Jeff's Jeep Grand Cherokee, and later we find out why. A short time later, their car breaks down in the middle of the desert. Amy accepts a ride with a friendly passing trucker named Red Bar, JT Walsh, to a small diner about 5 miles down the road to call for help while Jeff stays with the car. Also, during this part, we find out that Jeff and Amy are in financial trouble. The whole
Mhm.
donut thing for those listening and have not seen the movie, Amy buys a bunch of junk food to snack on. One of those is a pack of mini donuts, which is having a contest, and if you win, you can choose $90,000 or 90,000 donuts. They make a couple jokes saying 90,000 can clear a lot of their problems, and what would you do with 90,000 donuts? And he says something like, sell them for 25 cents or 30 cents
It's I
to
think
pay
30
off
cents
the
donut
Jeep.
to pay off the
Yeah,
Jeep,
to
yeah.
pay off the Jeep.
It's like, "Why'd you get such an expensive car?"
Yeah. Also, can we talk about how convincing Red was? Like, as
Yeah.
the unsuspecting guy, like he didn't insist anything. He didn't over explain or make it sound imperative. He was like, if you want
Yeah.
to ride, you do. If you don't, you don't.
No, I thought that was great, and I was like, obviously, knowing the premise of the movie, I'm like, "I know you're in on this somehow, but you're non-threatening." But that is also a problem, because he stays non-threatening even when he's supposed to be threatening, and that was a big part of the problem for this, like, entire movie, but I digress. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah. Yeah. But he didn't seem very threat. And unfortunately, like
Mm-mm.
my wife would have turned to ask me if I think we should. And I would have already been in the truck singing singing the convoy song, asking
Well,
if I can pull the horn.
oh god.
Convoy. Yeah, if me and my family are put in any thriller movie type situation or horror movies, they're fucked. Like I am gonna get them killed so fast.
See, I think I'd be the one to survive.
You think
I'm
so?
convinced. Oh, yeah, 100%. 'Cause I don't trust nobody. I never go looking at sounds. I'm the first one to grab a weapon. I'm like, "Why are you doing that? That's dangerous." I'd survive.
Yeah, my wife's like that. If there's a noise in the house,
Yeah.
she's like, "What was that?" And I'll be like, nothing, nothing. The door." She's down looking through stuff. I'm leave me alone.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Sorry, I shouldn't tell this story, but I will. When I was living with my friend, she had, for some reason, one of those rain sticks. So,
Hmm.
like, it had the beads inside, and every time you, like, shift it, it sounds like rain falling on a tin roof. It's beautiful. Um, we put it by the front door, and we said that was our home alarm system
Oh, that's a
and
horrible
also
alarm
our
system.
defense system. We're like, "Yeah, as soon as somebody breaks in, we'll pick it up and make them listen to the rain."
And you didn't put it together that you'd have to go to the door to get it?
Oh, I would be the one going to the door because she is a little bit afraid of everything, and, I would probably be the one to, like, fight someone off. 'Cause I'm violent, but whatever, it's fine. I'm sorry.
And Red looked concerned or at least confused at the truck that stopped up the road. For the listeners, the
Mhm.
guy in the truck that almost Earl, who yelled at Jeff at the gas station because he almost hit the truck in his fancy Jeep Cherokee, they passed Jeff and Amy when they stalled and then slowed down up the road and turned around as if they were coming back. Obviously, it was to scare Jeff and Amy and persuade them to both get in the truck with Red. But they decide Amy will take the ride and Jeff will stay with the Jeep.
Mhm.
Jeff discovers disconnected wires to be the problem with the car and drives to the diner, but no one there has seen his wife. Can we also say that what a shithole that place was?
Can I tell you the only time if I was in this movie, the only time I would be concerned for my safety is at that diner. Not only is it dirty and gross, but the guy behind the counter, I'm like, you have some serious like sex predator vibes.
Yeah, the bartender slash waitress slash
Yes.
chef slash owner. Yeah, didn't look like he showered in a month.
The diner literally has the stove, and it's just like a regular like at-home stove right behind him. I'm like, how?
Yeah,
Like,
it's
this is not
practically a food
sanitary.
truck.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm not saying I wouldn't eat there, but there'd be a lot of off the cuff and unsavory comments coming from under my breath.
I would not be eating there.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
It's so gross.
While driving to the nearest police station, Jeff spots red trucks and runs him off the road. The trucker swears that he has never seen Jeff or his wife before. This was a cool scene. With Red, the actor JT Walsh, who plays Red, he was you by then, even if you haven't seen the movie, you know this guy was going. You could tell he was becoming kind of a dangerous. He was a bad guy.
Well, at that point, it's all the dialogue that tells you, like, because you're like, what do you mean you've never seen him before? We
Yeah,
know you've seen him before, and he plays it off really well.
yeah, he does. Jeff hails a passing sheriff, but a brief search of Barr's truck is fruitless, for Amy's nowhere to be found. Jeff tries to tell the sheriff, played by Rex Lynn, that the trucker is lying about not remembering him or Amy, but the sheriff tells Jeff that he should drive to his station about 20 miles down the road and file a missing persons report. And I'm so used to these movies being, they mess with the wrong guy. Like, it was almost anxiety creating watching like a normal dude handle like not knowing what to, like this guy's lying and the police is actually doing what he's supposed to do. He's like, listen, nut bar, there's
Yeah.
nothing in the truck. The guy says he hasn't met you. Like, he's coming off as the crazy one, but that's how someone would react.
Yeah.
And the cop did say, I believe your wife is missing, but she isn't in the truck.
Yeah. No, he was like, I believe that your wife is missing, but she's not here. I can't do anything else here. Like, you need to go and report her missing. And then they get to the police station, and I'm like, that board is concerning.
Yeah. Okay. Jeff drives to a local police station where he talks with Deputy played by Kim Robillard. I don't know who the character's name is, about his
Yeah.
wife's disappearance. The deputy advises Jeff to go back to the diner and wait for his wife. Yeah, the bulletin board. Holy shit. For listeners,
I'm like, how?
Go ahead.
It's literally just covered, layered with missing person reports and pictures and stuff. And I'm sitting there going, this would not instill me with confidence. Not even a little bit.
I'd be like,
I'd be like,
guess
sir,
I should just give up now. Like,
just,
looks like you guys aren't found ratio
you're just like,
to
people go
missing
missing.
ratio. Yeah, it's a way of life here.
Whoopsies. Yeah.
And for listeners that are younger, like computers, or more specifically, technology wasn't as prevalent as it is today back in 1997. If you went missing, if you were lucky, you'd make the 6 o'clock news.
Or
then your picture would end up on a board. Yeah. If you were a kid, you would find your picture on a milk carton. You could be kidnapped eating your favorite cereal and see yourself on the milk carton. Like, hey, that's me.
It's funny though, because if you think about it, like at this point, because this was made in 1997, you didn't like police officers didn't have access, like local officers didn't have access to the databases that they do now.
No.
So they'd have to put in a request to someone for
Yeah.
them to search their database because there wasn't a network that you could access. Like, isn't that fucking nuts?
Yeah, when people went missing, like you said, milk carton,
Yeah.
or on a bulletin board at a police station, sometimes a post office. Yeah, maybe a
And they would
laundromat.
send a fax.
Yeah.
Like, they would send a fax of the like missing poster and be like, here you go, just so you know.
Yeah. And
Somebody
when you're
went
doing
missing
your
3 towns
laundry,
over.
you look over
Yep.
at people, you're like, oh, Karen's missing. Look at that. Good. I hate Karen.
Everybody hates Karen.
Jeff does so, going back to the diner. He cannot get any cooperation or help from the diner owner or any of the patrons. When Jeff insists on looking at the receipts, which was quite clever, in the last few hours, the diner owner threatens him with the rifle, forcing Jeff to leave. Outside the diner, Jeff asks all persons coming and leaving if they have seen his wife, but none of them respond that they have. Jeff ends up meeting Billy, Jack Noseworthy, a local simpleton and mechanic. I think he was washing a car,
It's very possible.
who says that he saw his wife arrive with Red and leave in another truck driven by a cowboy. I'm almost positive the first time I saw this movie, I thought this really was a town simpleton because I didn't see it in theater. I don't remember back in 97 seeing, I think I just grabbed it off the Blockbuster shelf.
Yeah.
But here you have a great little twist. But when we watched the trailer last week, it was given away that that wasn't a simpleton.
Yeah. But still,
Which,
he plays it well.
yeah,
You're like, oh,
he is an actor.
yeah, but I mean,
But yeah, he
look,
plays it well for the character to believe him. Yes.
don't get me wrong. Okay, but there are a lot of people who make a lot of money as actors who are not very good.
Yeah, I
Jennifer
will
Lopez, I'm
say
looking at you.
the actor, the acting was not really the problem of this movie. The actors
No.
were great. Billy then tells Jeff where they have taken her, but tells him not to go to the police because they may be involved.
Mm-hmm.
If you just for those who are listening, if you're looking to abduct a person or a couple for ransom or what have you, I'm not suggesting or advocating that, but this movie is a great blueprint.
Honestly, it's pretty good, but I think we can all, especially in the advent of credit, you can't trust that just because someone's driving a fancy car that they have money. But just
No.
because they're wearing khakis and a polo shirt means they have money.
Yeah, no. Which they find out.
Yeah, no shit.
Following the directions that Billy gave him, Jeff drives down a rural back road, running into a gate at a construction site. While he tries to figure out his next move, he's ambushed by Earl. After a short chase, Jeff escapes by driving his Jeep into a river. He exits the sinking car and floats down the river, later circling back around to where his attackers are salvaging it from the water, and then he is found and knocked out by Billy. See, I would have ruined this scene because I would have added in a one-liner like, "Who's the dummy now?" and have him whack him with and you would have hated this movie even more.
So much more. So much more.
And that whole scene, it wasn't bad. Like, there was no action hero thing about it. Just an average guy driving his truck into the river and sinking.
See, but
But this is what I was saying. I was like, and I'm like, well, the action guy there would be a lot more cooler
well,
stuff. This was too realistic.
it's not even the action guy. You see him, it looks like he's on a cliff. And then all of a sudden he starts driving, and you're like, "Oh, you're a fucking moron." But then there's just a hill that he drives down, and I'm like,
Oh yeah, into the water. Yeah.
"That was anticlimactic." Like, toss him off the cliff.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as they made it first look.
Yeah, the first look, I was like, "Ooh, cliff." And then he starts driving, and oh my god, that's gonna be dangerous. And then he just casually drives down to the waterfront.
And
I'm
that's
like,
what I mean. If this was an action movie, that would have been a 5-10 minute
okay, but to be
bouncing up and
like,
down, and
I'm about to blow your mind right now. Ready? Ready? This is an action movie.
it is.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I thought this was a drama.
Nope. It's an action movie. There's supposed to be action and suspense and thrills, and you're supposed to be on the edge of your seat. I was just kind of like,
Yeah, no, it
okay.
wasn't that. Yeah, it definitely
Yeah.
was not that type of movie. Earl shoots at him a few times. He can't kill him because he needs him alive.
Correct.
So he's knocked out. Jeff awakes in the trunk of a car. Billy, who drops his simpleton routine, opens it and asks how much money Jeff has, which is demand in exchange for his wife, who is being held hostage. For those listening, he actually says there's an exact amount that your wife said. You better give me, I think it's Earl that actually says this. You better
Yeah.
give me the exact amount that she said. And he's confused. For those listening, this is where that donut seed comes into play, as Billy and Earl are telling Jeff he better say the exact amount. And then they say, well, he might not be the donut king. And Jeff connects the dots saying the 90,000. Remember the $90,000 or the 90,000 donuts from earlier.
I'll give them that. That was clever.
Yeah. Sort of. Yeah. Not
Ish.
over. Yeah.
Not super like clever and like interesting, but it was
But yeah, it was
better
it
than
was
nothing.
it was smart on her. It made her smart on her
Yes.
part. Yeah, he
Now
almost
we
blew
find
it.
out she's smart. Yeah, he totally almost blew it. But we found out she was smart, what, like an hour into the movie? It's
Yeah,
fantastic. It's fantastic.
the two rednecks, Billy and Earl, remove Jeff from the trunk and bring them to the ringleader. And guess what? It's Red, the truck driver.
Shocking.
They did kind of make it like it was a big reveal.
Yeah.
It's so kind of dumb. But anyways, truck driver Red demands that Jeff withdraw a large sum of cash, 90,000, from a local bank in the nearby small town of Bracketon in exchange
Mhm.
for Amy. Red gravely warns him that they'll be watching him closely if Jeff doesn't comply fully. He promises to kill and mutilate Amy. And we talked about this last week how JT Walsh, the guy who plays Red, gave the script back to the director with more than half his dialogue crossed out.
Mhm.
He felt the less you know about this character makes him more menacing. He just wants the money, and any more information that we get weakens that character. And he was totally right. This he just comes across as just a piece of shit.
True. I
Like,
will give you that. He is a piece of shit.
yeah, and there's no backstory, there's no
There's no redemption arc for him.
cancer
Yeah, no.
has to be paid for or
It,
children
it's
dying.
it's not like he's Robin Hooding the shit.
No, there's no redeeming bit
Yeah.
about him. Jeff heads into the local bank to withdraw the money, knowing he has only a fraction of the assumed amount. I think he only had like $5,000.
Yeah.
Jeff attempts to alert the bank manager to his plight. However, paranoid that Red's group is keeping an eye on him, when a stranger enters the bank and begins watching him, Jeff abandons the idea. After thinking about sneaking out a back window in the men's room, Jeff instead returns to the lobby of the bank. This is where he went through the
He went
medicine
through the
cabinet
medicine cabinet looking for any like unscrewed
for
the
a
bottom of the
solution.
of the plunger. So and then he's trying to put it up his like sleeve and I was like, "Sir,
Yeah.
do you not know to put that in the back of your pants so that the stick is up your back?"
I thought about to say up his ass.
No, not up his ass. That's
That's a
too
good
far.
hiding spot.
He's not going into prison. He doesn't need to hide it that well. He just needs to hide it well enough so if he needs to hit someone upside the head, he can go behind his back and get it. Like, but he takes the letter opener when he gets back to the desk
Yes.
after he has his little bathroom freak out. So I gave him points for that.
Yes. Jeff instead returns to the lobby bank. While the bank manager is busy with the transaction, Jeff steals marked money ribbons and a letter opener knife from the manager's desk. He uses the money ribbons to pack stacks of dollar bills between $200 bills. That was a smart move.
That was very smart.
Like, he's watched a few movies.
Yes,
Yeah.
because he did not think of that on his own. Because every single thing he's done so far in this movie has just been a lot of I'm gonna freak out.
Yeah, it's
Get
almost like
myself
he
into more trouble.
succeeds by mistake.
Of course.
Like,
That actually
Amy's
makes sense.
very lucky. Like,
Yeah.
God protects the dumb type
I would
lucky.
not trust him to save me. If I
And I
was in
think that's what they
trouble,
were kind of going for. After leaving the bank with money, Jeff is contacted by Red from a payphone to leave the town by walking, where Earl picks him up. The giant, the giant cell phones and with the pull-out antenna and the abundant payphones were
Yes.
really the only thing that took me out of the movie year-wise. Like,
Yeah.
every time I saw a payphone, every time you saw the big old cell phones with the big antennas come out, yeah,
Mhm.
that was
That was fantastic when he pulls it out. Also, can we talk about when he I'm gonna point this out because this is a cell phone era in 1997. It was very new. You couldn't always get reception in every spot. It's not the same kind of coverage that you get today. So when he's trying to call his friend Steve, okay, who has a friend at the FBI, why does he not pull over the car while he has reception for like a hot minute and just be
yeah,
like,
he wasn't
Steve,
being chased or anything.
he wasn't being chased. He was just driving real fast. So I was like, why would you not stop when you have reception for a minute? I'm not telling you to like get out of the car and go sit down. I'm just saying, stop, talk to Steve, get the FBI, then keep driving. to the place that you don't know where you're going.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, I know you're in a rush to get your wife, but maybe contacting your FBI
Still doesn't.
contact.
Yeah, right? Call the FBI, then keep going. Even though he doesn't know, he just knows he's going to the river.
Yeah.
That's it.
While gloating, okay, so Earl picks him up while gloating about how easy Jeff and his wife were to trick and implying that they intend to kill them anyway. Earl discovers that Jeff has stacked the bundles using the money ribbon he took from the bank manager's desk. Jeff then stabs Earl with the letter opener that he stole and used to cut through the duct tape he was bound with, then forcing him from the driver's seat and forcing Earl from the driver's seat and duct taping his hands to his leg,
Mhm.
his neck to the headrest. To be fair, for anyone listening that has not seen this movie or have not seen this movie for a long time, that a little more of a battle, a little more of a scuffle with those two guys.
Yeah.
You could really tell we're not pros, and it was a desperate fight for life. Jeff tortures Earl for a few minutes using the truck's brakes to choke him into revealing where they took Amy. Just then, the same sheriff from the beginning of the film, seeing the truck being driven erratically,
Mhm.
attempts to arrest both Earl and Jeff. Jeff surrenders when ordered to throw away Earl's pistol. Earl frees himself and shoots the sheriff with a pistol concealed in his boot. Of course. Just as Earl is about to shoot Jeff, the wounded sheriff shoots and kills Earl. Jeff uses the sheriff's radio to call for an ambulance and leaves behind the wounded sheriff to find his wife.
See, that was probably the most realistic moment. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, you know to stop, make sure that an ambulance is on the way for this very nice sheriff who killed the guy who was, trying to kidnap and kill you and steal your money. And then you go. I'm like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I still feel your desperation, but you don't look like a moron.
Although initially unsuccessful at finding Billy or his wife at the truck stop, Earl mentioned Jeff spots Red, who is preoccupied with a telephone call to an accomplice at a telephone booth. Seeing two state troopers searching for a suspect in the shooting of the sheriff, Jeff manages to jump onto Red's moving truck as it pulls out of the truck stop. This is the part of the film where my wife could kiss her ass goodbye. Actually, if we're being honest, I'd still be at the police station looking at my watch going like, is this going to be much longer? I would have already agreed, started a Tinder account to move on.
Tinder, so you're looking for the next great love of your life.
Yeah. Starting in the spare tire rack on the trailer that's underneath the truck,
Yep.
he inches his way to the tractor and is able to hide in the spoiler on top of the cab. Now, this is what I was referring to earlier. This whole scene did not look like an action hero stunt. And it wasn't supposed to, because an action hero would have shimmied across the bottom, flipped over to the side of the truck, seen that the driver might see him, so let go
Yeah.
of the truck, fly down the side of it, grab the back, flip over to the back of the truck, and then do a double flip onto the top.
Well, I wasn't expecting action, like superhero kind of moves. Like
No,
I
this was
wasn't
a
expecting.
slow,
Yeah.
realistic,
And I
which,
don't mind realistic in the action part.
yeah,
I just want to care about the people. I didn't give a fuck about any of them. None of them. When he's almost falling off the truck, I don't care. I'm like, you gonna
yeah.
get run over now?
And that's where they could have took that little 15 minutes and just for a little bit more story with them.
Yeah.
Because he looked terrified, and you knew
Mm-hmm.
the only thing that was keeping him going was the love for his wife. A love, might I add, I do not have. Nor does 95% of the men on this planet. And if they say otherwise, they are lying. They would be just like me, sitting at a bar, waiting for their Tinder date to show up, hoping that their wife being abducted story was enough to maybe get some sympathy sex.
Probably.
I ain't jumping on no
I mean, as long as you don't provide a timeline. Like
Yeah,
if
I'm
you
not
don't
talking about
say,
like a week
like
from now.
yeah. No, I'm just saying if you wait long enough, it would probably get you laid.
Yeah.
However, I mean, if you spend the afternoon at the police station and then go meet your Tinder date and you're like, so earlier today, let me tell you a funny story.
Yeah.
You're not getting laid. Maybe a
Yeah.
blowjob, not getting
Because
laid.
yeah. Yeah, she was like, she might still be alive. She
Yeah.
might be. After driving all night, Red arrives at his family farm where he greets his wife and young son, whom they address as Warren. The Red character's real name is Warren, I guess. I don't know why the plot people thought this was imperative. Jeff hides in their barn and watches as Red, Billy, and a fourth accomplice, a tow truck driver named Al. For everyone listening, the fourth accomplice, Al, was the actual driver of the truck that almost hit the Jeep Cherokee. Earl was in the passenger seat. You see Al sitting in the truck while Earl confronts Jeff at the beginning of the movie. They take Amy from a compartment underneath the moving van, where they've also stashed Jeff's Jeep. I didn't remember that. Did they have his Jeep?
Yeah, they pulled it from the river. And it
I
was
remember
going
them
up
pulling for the river, but I don't remember them seeing
because
them.
the hook and the cable was
Oh,
attached
yeah,
to a
yeah, yeah,
truck
yeah, yeah.
that had the ramps on it.
Yeah,
Because I remember it started with that, and I was like, "The fuck are they doing?" And then I saw the Jeep, and I was like, "Oh, that makes sense."
that's
But
right.
also, can we talk about the set design in this particular scene? Because where Jeff is hiding, Jeff is his name, right?
Yeah,
Kurt Russell.
up on top
Um,
of the barn, inside
yeah,
the barn, but the top.
inside the barn in the loft area,
Yeah,
and that's where they store all the stuff that they have stolen from these people.
yeah,
And you see, especially from at this point where he's hiding, he's in front of boxes of cameras.
yeah,
Like, there's at least 2 full boxes of cameras, film cameras, not even digital, film cameras. So you're
yeah.
like, "How long have these people been doing this?"
Oh, yeah, it looks like
Because
they've been
there
doing
are
it
so
for a
many
minute.
cameras.
Yeah, they've been doing it for a minute.
Yeah, and then I'm like, that entire bulletin board at the police station, it
Yeah, it
was
was
them.
all them.
It was all them.
Every single one of them.
100%.
They take Amy from a compartment underneath a moving van that they've also stashed Jeff's Jeep. Okay, they lock her in a freezer in the basement under the barn to suffocate and return to the house. Jeff also discovers that Red and his accomplice have been apparently been preying upon unsuspecting travelers and truckers for some time now by stealing their money, luggage, and cargo and killing them afterward. Yeah, kind of, and you're right. That kind of makes it more creepier because there were baby seats and kids' toys up there.
Yeah,
So they were killing dudes, families,
they were
kids.
killing entire families. They were
Yeah,
just, like, wiping
yeah.
people out.
And again, with no backstory, no reason, they seem more menacing than they actually were. Or no, not because really
They're
they were just misunderstood.
they're
No,
not menacing or misunderstood. They're literally just
pieces of shit.
psychopaths.
Yeah,
That's it. They're
exactly.
psychopaths. They're all like, "Oh,
Uh,
look, another, like, group of people that we can totally kill. Fantastic."
yeah, and this is where you kind of wish that the Kurt Russell character was like a John McClane or a John Rambo or a John Wick. How the fuck are they all named John? I just realized. Who's the main guy in Predator? Dutch. Might be John Dutch.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. Strap.
So
Side
that's
note,
Strap.
just you were coughing there. We were at the Costco and my wife had strep throat too, and she was getting the cough like I had, and she was doing that in the Costco. And a couple people were like kind of looking like, ugh. So she did a real loud one. So I had the 5-year-old in the car. I didn't scream, but I yelled at the top of my lungs, disease, and pointed at my wife and ran down the aisle.
Such a
She
dick.
was really mad. It was awesome. Uh
I'm impressed you're still married. Just
me
saying.
too. A lot of people are. Unsuccessful at prying the lock open on the trap door, Jeff finds a pistol in the moving van and enters the house and demands the basement keys from Red. This is the first time where the movie I actually kind of cared what happened with like the actual what was going on with the story.
Mhm.
It was intense. It was good. I like this scene.
This was actually a good scene. I'm mad it came so late in the movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, where was this feeling before?
Yeah, like the whole movie wasn't even like
Yeah.
really close to this,
Oh.
but yeah. And this was the first time he kind of was a little more, I don't want to say not manly, but more in control of the situation.
He was definitely more assertive and more, I don't wanna say aggressive because he's not even really that aggressive,
No.
But he's definitely taking a stand.
Yeah. And it's not his fault. His name isn't John. If it was John, these guys would have been fucked.
Whole different movie.
Yeah.
Whole different movie.
But this is short-lived because Red's son, Deke, appears with a rifle and threatens Jeff, but accidentally shoots Al in the arm after Jeff knocks a gun from his hands. However, Billy flees by jumping out a window while Jeff forces Red to return to the barn. Red's wife, Arlene, opens the barn basement and frees Amy from the freezer, surprised at seeing the hidden bunker, and she's surprised at seeing the hidden bunker and Amy locked in the freezer. Yeah, that might come as a shock if you weren't in on it. Might be grounds for some therapy.
I think Red's job as a trucker has allowed him to have a little more leeway, because I was like, initially my first thought was, how have you not figured, like, do you just not go in the barn?
Yeah.
Do you not look around ever?
Yeah.
Because it's not like they're hiding all the shit that they've stolen from people. It's just sitting in boxes.
It's just up in the
It's just up in the hayloft. I'm like,
just bodies in the freezer are the only thing that's hidden. That's it. Jeff locks everyone in the basement. Then he and Amy find a pickup truck at a nearby abandoned trailer home. It's not abandoned. Looks pretty lived in.
No, I think it's Billy's.
Yeah. They manage to drive off just as Billy manages to free everyone. And then just escaping as the freed Red drives through the trailer home with his tractor trailer. This was an awesome shot. This shows you Red wasn't sticking around to explain anything to his wife.
No. He was all like, sorry, honey, I have to go kill these people.
Yeah,
I'll
there's
be
a
right
problem.
Back. We'll talk.
Yeah, there's a problem. Red's going to solve it, and then we'll talk. It wasn't even a well thought out plan. Like, if that wasn't Billy's home, that was someone's home.
Yeah.
Like, that person could have been fishing, just come over the hill and being like, what the fuck? You done drove your truck through my home. And not well thought out at all. As dawn begins to break. Oh, yeah, I guess because it was pretty early in the morning. It was dark when it first started. Yeah. That's right. A climactic and harrowing car chase begins as Billy, Al, and Red pursue Jeff and Amy on the highway, the former in cars and the latter in his truck. During the pursuit, Billy is killed when his car explodes after Jeff forces it off the road. Again, the whole car chase was kind of a nice payoff to kind of a slow movie. Watching Kurt Russell pussyfoot around, doing everything half-assed. The trailer from Red's truck detaches, causing Al to violently crash into it, apparently killing him also. That's the plot. For a second, I thought Red was doing it on purpose, but then you could see on his face that he didn't mean to do that.
No.
Undeterred, Red attempts to force Jeff and Amy's vehicle off a bridge, trapping Amy's leg under the dashboard. Jeff rushes out of the vehicle and into Red's big rig, where a struggle over the steering wheel forces Red's truck over the edge, leaving it dangling on a steel bridge. Again, that overwhelming power of love. Jeff, did all of this for his love.
For the love of Amy, who we know nothing about and don't care about. But I'm glad Jeff does.
Yeah. No, it was a cool scene. And the fact you could tell that these characters, this was not a common occurrence. In some of the movies, or most movies, it's like this happens every week to them. Jeff fights Red on a suspended big rig while Jeff hangs from the truck. Red tries to whip him off with a chain, but Jeff grabs it and Red loses his balance, falls off the truck to the rocks below. Yeah, actually, Red wrapped it around his hand to get a better grip.
Yeah.
Jeff, he catches it.
He catches it. And then there's a moment of recognition where he's like, oh, shit. Yeah. And then Jeff pulls him down. And I was like, that was nice.
That was a good scene, yes.
That
and
was
a couple of those where Red hits him, his fingers with that chain, that looked like it hurt. But that was a good scene. And then Jeff frees Amy, and the two look down at the seemingly dead Red, who then starts to move. Amy, clearly shaken and the plot, teeming with rage from her captivity, then pulls the automatic shifter on their pickup truck, which has been holding the Red's truck in place, and it falls and crushes him. Now, I'm not an expert, but after that fall, and if Red was still alive on those rocks, I'm guessing that truck hurling down upon him would have been sweet relief.
100%, because I can guarantee you at least half the bones in his body
Yeah.
would have been broken, because he fell on the rocks.
Yeah.
Like, not even on the water, on rocks.
The rocks. and he's still moving. If I was her, I would have been like, "Yo, we're gonna walk to town, and then we're gonna call
Yeah.
someone to come and get you, and leave him there. He
Well,
ain't going anywhere."
Red ends up moving his head, and I was
Yeah.
like, dude, that fall would have totally broken your back. Not a chance. Not a chance in hell would you be able to turn your head. Nuh-uh.
No.
But
But a very
God
cool
bless, it was
visual.
dramatic.
Yeah.
I like that entire thing.
Relieved that their nightmare is over, and the final shot shows Jeff and Amy sitting in the middle of the bridge recovering from the ordeal. All right. So, score.
I'm giving it a 4 because it was awful.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
really didn't like this movie.
Don't get me wrong, it had some moments, but all of those moments happen in like the last 10 minutes of the movie. So I'm like, what the fuck were you doing for the first hour and 20 minutes? Like, where were you? This was not. And the. Okay. Because when I was watching it, credits start coming up and it's like spelling films. I was like, spelling films is an Aaron Spelling? Oh, this should be dramatic. Because Aaron Spelling loves a little bit of melodrama. I love it. Let's do this. And then it just proceeded into one of the most boring movies where I didn't care about anybody. I didn't care about anything. And then finally in the last like 10 minutes, they give us the action movie. And I'm like, I didn't need Jeff to be an action hero. I didn't need him to be a martial arts expert. I didn't need him to be a munitions expert. I didn't need him to be a sniper. I needed him to like take everything by the horns. I needed him to take charge. I didn't need him to flounder through the entire thing and be like, where's Amy? Because that's all he does. He just kind of walks around and asks random people, have you seen my wife? I'm like, sir, you know who the trucker was who took your wife. Follow up on that.
Yeah.
Instead, he's like, I'm just going to keep roaming around and seeing if maybe. And I didn't care about Amy, and I feel bad about that because she's been through an ordeal in this movie. But I'm like, we didn't get enough character development for her in the beginning, and I don't need a lot, but I just need enough to know that she loves Jeff, Jeff loves her, that they are, scared but excited to start their new life in San Diego. And like, I needed something so that when Amy gets taken, I'm invested. What was there's a movie with John Cho, which was fucking phenomenal. I think it's called Missing. And the majority of it is done just through a computer screen. It's so good. So fucking good. Look it up. That, they gave me enough that I really, really fucking cared. And he is just a regular guy trying to find, I believe it's his daughter. And it was such a good, when you watch something like that and then you watch this, you're like, you could have done better. So it was awful. It was terrible.
So 4.
4.
Okay, this might sound weird, but I liked it a bit more after watching it. I think I've been so used to, I don't know, I don't know if I was wanting adrenaline infused action hero, you mess with the wrong guy, that this movie kind of caught me off guard when I sat down and watched it. Like halfway through this movie, I was like, this guy better John Wick the fuck up and start kicking some ass. Yeah, he kills a bunch of guys, sort of, but actually the cop killed Earl. He forced Billy off the road. Red's shitty driving causes 8-wheeler to jackknife, and he kills Al. Amy actually kills Red.
Yep.
So as Jeff's lawyer, I could argue Billy was just a piss poor driver.
Yeah.
And get him off on everything. But it was a different take, especially from an actual action star and the movies of the 90s. They were right to cut the dialogue to make these bad guys for the story. It made them more menacing, and it kind of made you cheer for their demise, even if you weren't cheering for Kurt Russell. It was well acted. The dialogue was good. The action where it was good, but I don't know if it was a pacing issue, but it really threw me off. Overall, I give it a 6.
Okay.
Kinda good. Kinda good. I might watch it again. It could be a while from now, could be a few years. I might see it on Netflix or another streamer and say I'll watch it. I wasn't in awe. I'm it was but I did I enjoyed it being different. But it wasn't like it didn't blow my mind. It wasn't like, "Yeah, that was awesome.
See,
1997 rules." This was kinda like, it was kinda good.
it had potential.
It had everything to
I
be
love the idea of a regular, like, just suburban, not an action guy being put in a situation where it's him or nothing to find his wife.
yeah.
I like that. I like that he doesn't do everything perfectly. He doesn't have a plan. He has to figure it out as he goes. I like that. Some small tweaks. This could have been a good movie. I also like that the bad guys are literally just a bunch of psychos. Like they don't have any actual good reason. So I'm like I feel like the movie that they planned on doing and the movie that they finished with were two very different movies.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because I was like, I spent an hour and 20-ish minutes being like, oh God, this is still going. And then the last like 10, 15 minutes, I was like, okay, like this is the movie I wanted to see. This was it. But yeah,
Now
I don't blame Kurt Russell.
no, no, and I get maybe at the time it was because during that time there was so many like adrenaline fueled action. I could see people like, oh, this is a different
Yeah.
pace. It's like a breather from all the Rock and Con Air and Speed and all these type of movies.
God, I
So
love
maybe it
Speed.
was like, yeah. See, I like those ones. They're
Yeah,
awesome.
I love those. And I mean, same thing. Like, yes, you have Keanu Reeves in Speed, who knows what he's doing, and he's crazy. But you also have Sandra Bullock, who's like, what the fuck? And I
Yeah,
appreciate that. I appreciate the characters who get put into these situations and are like, the fuck? But they
yeah.
handle it.
And Kurt Russell was almost like the Sandra Bullock character, and
Hmm.
we didn't have the Keanu Reeves character.
Yeah. We could have if he had managed to get through to Steve,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
he had just stopped the car.
yeah. So why did you like it initially? Why do you think you liked it initially back then? Because we both remembered we liked it.
I think I must have been in an action movie, like, obsession at that point. Like, maybe that was it. So I was just devouring everything action.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was and it wasn't always, like, classic action movies, Like, Speed was a little bit different. Con Air was a little bit different. I'm literally trying to remember all the act there's so many
Oh, there
from
were
the
so many
90s.
back then.
God.
Diehards, Arnold, anything Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Anything
anything
Arnold
Sylvester
Schwarzenegger it was
Stallone.
Steven Seagal was fucking going nuts still at that point. With
Bruce Willis,
Bruce Willis was in everything.
it was in tons of action movies.
Yeah, so
Even Jean-Claude Van Damme, like, there were
there were a
lots.
lot. So I think I was just and so I liked it. I think I remember liking it because it was just like another action movie. But watching it back now, I'm like, "Oof, this is I don't care about Amy. I wanna care. I wanna care about Amy. I want her back." At
Yeah,
that point, when she disappeared from the screen, I'm like, "I don't actually give a fuck if she lives or dies."
yeah, and because like, the reason I liked it was the same reason it was different and, like, Speed, Die Hard, Arnold,
Yeah.
Sylvester Stallone, and they were kicking so much ass. This wasn't that, it was different,
Mhm.
but that's also probably why it wasn't as popular in my memory. And
Yeah.
actually, yeah, I'm going to, because we've been talking about it, I'm gonna take it down to 5.5
Ooh,
because yeah,
a
yeah,
change in
because
score.
I just think I don't think I'll be as excited to watch this again.
Yeah.
now that we're talking about it, it would be a flip of a coin if I was to watch this movie again.
I don't think I'd ever seek it out, but I wouldn't be mad if it's on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would not be actively watching it. I'd be reading a book while it was on.
Yeah, like in the background type thing.
Yeah, until, the action actually starts, and then I'd be like, "Oh, okay, cool. Now's the fun part."
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna say 5.5.
Okay.
So if you liked it, then
Yeah.
rent it, buy it, stream it, skip it.
Stream it.
Stream
Don't
it. I
pay for
agree.
this.
No.
I did.
Unless you remember, like we remembered liking it. If you remember loving it, I would not buy it. I would spend the $3 to rent it.
Mhm.
But if you remember liking it, like we did, yeah, definitely. If you stream it, if it's on something, which I couldn't find, I paid money for this.
I had to pay money for it too, and I'm a little mad about it. I feel
I'm
like
glad I
there should
didn't
be a
buy it.
refund policy.
Yeah, if it's really bad, give me half my money back or
Just
something.
I don't even want a full refund. Just give me a little bit back. Like apply a credit to my account so I
Yeah.
can rent something else. But yeah, no, it's yeah, stream it, but I wouldn't search for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this would not be one of those where I'm like, I need to watch it.
No. If you've never seen it, I don't even know if I would suggest streaming it. Like it's not your typical thriller action movie, and you might not enjoy yourself.
No. If you want something to put you to sleep, watch it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of boring.
Yeah.
I feel bad though. Poor Kurt Russell. I feel bad saying it's boring, but it's boring.
Yeah. See, I liked it more than you did.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's be a hard one to recommend. Could it be rebooted today?
100%.
They would.
100%.
You'd want it to be more in line with action movies where the character would have to be redone a bit.
I think
the action that was in it was good. I did like the
Yeah.
action.
No,
Yeah,
the
it was
action
good.
that was in it was good.
And the actors were good.
The actors were
story
great.
was
The story was I was like, just with a few tweaks, this could be an awesome action movie. And it would make more sense why he's going absolutely nuts. Because at the beginning of the movie, what I'm kind of seeing from this couple is they're kind of blasé about each other. They're not that into each other. So when he starts going nuts, like going crazy looking for his wife, I'm like, I was not getting that vibe from you. I really thought you were going to be one of those, like, I'll stay in town and look for her, but not like, let's drive up into the mountains.
Yeah. So that was it for a 4 and a 5.5 for breakdown. Okay.
Congratulations. You just had one of your childhood movie memories vindicated. Or they just eviscerated it. I don't know. This is a generic one-size-fits-all type of ending to the podcast. So thank you for listening, and please join Anna and Jimmy next time for another episode of the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. If you dare to go back and watch that movie you remember liking,